Hello everyone, my name is Yasser Alid, and in this video I have the favorite content for most of my viewers here on the YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Top teams. For the Open Great League, I do like a top teams video pretty much for every league. And for the Open Leagues, I do it once a season. And I haven't done anything in this season yet, so I decided to make a new one so I can update the old teams in case anyone is looking for a team to play in Great League, which is the main PvP league. And that's why I decided to make a new one. And in this video today, we will go through about the most meta Pokemons, and the leads, the swap, the generalist, what is spicy, what's like an anti-meta Pokemon, and like the main teams that everyone was using at a high MMR, high win rate, very common teams. So for a team to make it to this list, it has to be a good team, people used it, and it doesn't lose to the top condensed meta. Like pretty much people usually use 10 Pokemons at max, especially the higher you go in MMR, the more Pokemons you face, the less Pokemons you face. So for any team to make it in this list, you have to beat those. Sorry if I didn't mention anyone's team or a team that everyone think is good and you didn't see it in the list. That's the main reason why. So I mentioned them like good leads, situationally OP. What does situationally OP means? Means if opponents swapped something that you beat with those, you can just fast move them all the way down. Generalist, which is basically good everywhere. A good lead is usually like a Pokemon that either hits hard from the fast move, or something that beats some stuff and you need to swap out so you don't lose hard, you don't get locked in the lead or like in the swap. Like as an example, Bastiodon, people lead it because if you don't have an answer to it in the lead, they're just gonna RPS you all the way down. I don't think Diggersby is a good lead. I think Diggersby is situationally OP here. So Bastiodon, Altaria is pretty much the best lead Pokemon. If Altaria wins the lead, you pretty much lose because it's just gonna snowball the entire game, and there is nothing that can farm down Altaria other than just being like some Bastiodon stuff. But for Altaria, usually like they have stuff that beats the ghosts, because they usually run like Stunfisk and Trevenant or Toxicroak, which doesn't beat the XLs. Well, it's kind of like goes both ways. Like Altaria teams lose to Basti lead but beat Basti's Pokemons in the back. So if Altaria in the lead, they have a Shadow Beck, they swap in Basti, you have a fighter, right? So the one who RPS here wins. Araquanid is pretty much a Pokemon that whenever it gets a good lead, you pretty much win the game, same as for Altaria, due to the due to the massive bulk. It's tough for them. Like it's tough to make a huge mistake since the Pokemon is basically dependent on fast move pressure. Sorry, I have COVID and I'm still been recovering. It's been like 15 days and I tested today and it's still positive. So I'm gonna be coughing most of the video. But I had to make this video ASAP since I didn't make one yet. Deoxys Defense, probably my favorite lead here because you only lose to the ghosts. That's basically it. Anything else, you can literally stay in. And among all of these Pokemons, I know like some people prefer Swampert, some people prefer Altaria, but my favorite is Deoxys Defense. Venusaur is a solid one, by the way. Situationally OP, those Pokemons like pretty much depend on the fast move pressure. Like let's say you save swap some. Let's say you save swap like a fighter, they have a Charmander, they farm you all the way down. You save swap a dragon, you have a Lapras, they farm you down. By the way, Lapras is now even stronger in the meta because Walrein is like very underwhelming. It doesn't do as much pressure as it used to after the nerf because Icicle Speed is a horrible move now. So if you think Walrein is good, Lapras is even better. Diggersby has been shining, and pretty much if you can bait out the fighters and the water, Diggersby can sweep. Like yes, it loses to so many stuff, but if you have your Diggersby locked in but it's a steel Pokemon, you just win. There is no way you lose the game because when EQ is gonna KO, you don't die to their move, and you can leave the matchup with million energy. Drapion, I wouldn't call it situationally OP. I would rather have it here as a generalist because it doesn't lose hard to anything in the meta. Yes, you lose to Swampert, but if you have an energy lead, you can beat it. You can beat G-Fisk in the 2 if you have an energy lead and you shield an EQ and you get a defense drop. Yeah, that's a lot to ask, but Drapion is very spammy and you can still get to most of these stuff. Now moving into the generals, those Pokemons are good in the lead, are good to save swap, are good to have in the back. Nidoqueen is one of them. Lickitung, Azu, Registeel, Sableye, Stunfisk, Trevenant. I am sure we suffer the worst times versus these Pokemons. Why? Because they are good everywhere. You can see them in the lead, you can see them in the back. You can see them even in the safe swap. Lickitung now is even has been used even more just because Walrein doesn't exist almost. And it's like the most reliable Pokemon. Because there is nothing that hard to beat it outside, like, I think Scrafty maybe. But you still, like, if people use it in like A, B, soft B teams, but like you try to bait out the fighter so like the other normal can sweep in the back. Anti-meta Pokemons, probably my favorite here is Koffing. Koffing is a very underrated Pokemon because you beat so many stuff in the meta. But your only downside is that you don't win the 2 shield matchups because you don't pressure shields. You only have nukes. Noctowl is probably my second favorite. So I'm gonna rate them like this. At the top. So Sirfetch'd, Noctowl, Tropius. Abomasnow has been doing some good stuff. Where is Lantern? Lantern is hard meta, dude. I don't know why I have it in... Lantern is so freaking strong. This Pokemon is too good. Like, Altaria Lantern Core is probably the most dominant one. Rainy-Cast form, don't use it. It's been horrible. Gramble is good. Vigoroth, nah. Frostlass, meh. Mew is meh. Pelipper is fine. Not that great. Grathorn. The problem with it is that it's just like there is only one good grass in the meta and it's Trevenant. You might argue that Shadowbake is also decent. Talonflame. The thing about Talonflame is very dominant in the low elo MMR, and like every time someone tank, they just complain that they faced so many Talonflames. So whenever you are at the Talon, we call it the Talonflame elo. But like Talonflame just beats everything there. And if you climb high MMR, pretty much no one care about Talonflame and everyone always weak to Talonflame, and people don't use it because it's easy to catch moves. Like, you can always tell when Talonflame is throwing the charge move. That's one. If you bank a move and they have a Talonflame, whenever they start doing the fast move animation, they get stuck for like 2 seconds and a half, and you can easily swap and snipe it. So if you want to tune out to my stream, I'm a Twitch streamer. I stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 p.m. Central Time. I think I changed it to 4 p.m. Central Time nowadays. And during the weekend, which is Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 6 p.m. Central Time, where I practice most of those teams. Sometimes I play only climbing, which means only hardcore meta teams. And sometimes, you know, whenever we don't have anything fun to do, we just like try to copy some fun teams and play around them. Now moving into the spicy Pokemon. The spicy Pokemon is a Pokemon that only beats some stuff. As an example, Skunk. You only beat what Nidoqueen beat, but you lose to more stuff. Shiftry. You beat that stuff that Sableye beat. Not all of them. And you lose to most of the stuff. Greedent is a fun Pokemon. Galvantula. You lose to so many stuff, but you can still beat the Flyers. You beat the water, you beat the grass. Is it a reliable Pokemon? No, it's not, to be honest. Shadow Series is a fun Pokemon. You can use it now after the nerf to Walrein as an ice Pokemon. I think pretty much it's the best Pokemon here. I don't think that anything here. Maybe Skunk is close to be a good Pokemon. Those 3 are good. Everything else is just meh. Not gonna lie. If you wanna try them, feel free to. Like, you know, it's like your Pokemons. I'm not gonna tell you what to run and what not to run. I'm here to tell you what is the most successful to run. Okay, so this is our brand. We tell you like what are the best teams to try and what are the best Pokemons to use. And feel free to use them. And let me know in the comment section below how you did while using them. So now moving into the top teams in the Great League. So the most dominant team from the last Great League rotation was basically G-Fisk, Trevenant, Jumpluff. Why this team was the most dominant? It's easy. Because everyone was running Altaria in the lead, Lantern in the back, and this team just hard RPS it. So, you know, like some people were running Basti, Double Grass, or Basti, Double Fighters, or Altaria, Lantern, Reggie. This team just RPS those three teams, and this team, for some reason, was the most used and the highest win rate at high MMR. Why? Jumpluff doesn't die. And Jumpluff can beat Altaria in the zero as well, because it has a very fast move, and you have an Outrage Clone flying move. You do live a Sky Attack, and you get to 2 moves before the Altaria. So, if you're looking for the most dominant team, this is the most dominant team. What do you do versus Talonflame? I don't know what you do versus Talonflame, but Talonflame, people don't use it at high MMR. That's why most of the teams you will see here, like the first 5 or 10, are just basically weak to Talonflame. And you can't be weak to Talonflame because you can always snipe the Talonflame mid-fast move animation. The team I use the most, also Smash King, it's twitch.tv/smash_king08, was basically Trevenant, Azu, Trevenant, G-Fisk with either Azu, A9, or Walrein. One of those three. Depending on the meta, we use the third. But this is mainly the core. So this is the main core. I believe this team was like a top meta since we started playing it back in Season 8. So if you hate this team, sorry, like I'm the one who popularized it. And if you like this team, thank you so much. This is a decent team that we played like for a very long time, me and Oleman and Smash King both. I don't use this team anymore. I use this team now. Trevenant, Shadow Drapion. I have it here as a debate. So if you want to copy this team, you need a Shadow Drapion. Why? Because 2 crunches basically KO everything from Shadow Drapion. Like 2 crunches KO Medicham, and people always swap the Medi late, so you can always get 2 crunches versus the Medicham. And then if you bait out the Medicham, Registeel can sweep. It's some kind of an ABB team. Like you're kind of double weak to G-Fisk in the back. You don't have the best answer to G-Fisk, but you should be fine if the Trevenant is good IV enough. Because some Trevenant's IV spread lose to G-Fisk. And make sure your Trevenant easily beat G-Fisk. This is my favorite team, the team I use the most. I used to use it even before the Walrein get a buff, get a community day. But when the Walrein get a community day, it basically beats all of these 3 Pokemon, so I stopped using it. I'm using it back now. I know some people ask me about the Toxapex team, and this is the team I will be using if I am using Toxapex, or the team I'm giving to other people to use. So Toxapex with either Umbreon or Lickitung, with Sableye or Scrafty in the back, because you need a hard steel answer. So those two beat the steel. Here both are kind of neutral, depend on the opponent's IV, but you pretty much want to beat out the like if you have it like this, you're not that weak to Charm. If you have it like this, you have to beat out the Charm with Umbreon. I kind of prefer the Lickitung version just because Lickitung is so strong in the current meta. The third could be Sableye, could be Scrafty, also could be Obstagoon. I hate to say it, but yeah, Obstagoon could be a Pokemon. Oh, you can also use the Wholesome 2.0. You know, like the Umbreon, DD, Nidoqueen? Yeah, you can use Toxapex instead of Nidoqueen, because it's much bulkier. Like, it's so much bulkier. It's like a Bastiodon bulk, non-XL. And for the Umbreon, you can replace it with Sableye or Licky. And in the backline, you just use a counter, like a counter user Pokemon, so you can beat the Steel. This is pretty much, I think, a better version of the previous one, just because you have a straight answer to the Steel with this team. Also, no, there is no also. You can check out Wholesome at twitch.tv/wholesome_. And I think if he has this Pokemon, I asked him, he hasn't replied yet. So we get to wait until he goes live and we check. I know that people said Registeel was nerfed, but is it actually nerfed? I saw this team a lot last rotation because most people were still, and I'm one of those people who still run Registeel because we still think that Registeel is too strong. So this is basically 3 answers to Registeel: G-Fisk, If you have 5 attack plus, you get one shot breakpoint, by the way, versus Registine. So you dominate the matchup and you can kill them with a EQ and Rock Slide instead of just killing them with 2 EQs, because if they have the shot breakpoint, EQ and the Rock Slide doesn't KO. Another team that was very popular was popularized by Homeslice Henry. I am not sure whether it was his team or one of his mods team, but I think I saw it at the beginning on Homeslice Henry's YouTube channel. And then I think last week of the last season, pretty much almost everyone was running this team. He used Diggersby to bait out the Walrein and then the Noctowl sweep. Yes, you're weak to Sableye or the Ghost in the lead, but pretty much if they have the Ghost in the back, you just win because you have 2 hard answers to the Ghosts. The team is very solid, very bulky, but you have some decent charge move pressure and decent fast move pressure. And yeah, this team is very solid. I think Rise to Occasion also played it after, and he climbed with it with like to the 33400. And after that, he played it, people started using it. But what's the most dominant team? Could be Greatest Lantern. Here. The most dominant team in Great League. Well, the most used. Technically, this team here was the most dominant one, but here, this team was the most used. It was basically Altaria, Lantern, and Registeel. Lantern with Water Gun, so you don't have a Swampert issue, I think, but you still need the Altaria to be healthy so you can beat the Trevenant in case they have a Treb. Some people were running like some Nidoqueen with it. Yeah, so you need like a hard Trevenant answer, but this team, Altaria, Lantern Core, were basically the strongest. Like after the buff to Lantern, they gave it Surf. This is basically another team that were being used. I think this team was like the BBML in Season 4. Altaria, G-Fisk, Azu. And you just basically, if Altaria gets a good lead, you just win the game. And the only way Altaria loses lead is just basically Charmas. That's it. Or G-Fisk. If they have G-Fisk, you go to your G-Fisk, and from there you can play for shield advantage or any advantage you want. A dominant team that has been very dominant since Season 1 was popularized by Thomas or Tactical. What an amazing player. Like one of the best players who played this game, and like, oh, everyone, you know, like we always learned from him. And his team was still very relevant, like as a double Ghost, and very dominant in every league. Like whenever you can use as a double Ghost, you just blindly use it, because technically the only Pokemons that kind of beat it is just like the Dark Poison. And the Dark Poisons like always lack either the fast move pressure or the charge move pressure that can beat those. Because for them, they either have to run a poison move, which doesn't beat it. But for you, I think to lose this, they need something with Shadow Claw. So technically, this team is kind of weak to Trev in the lead. Here is some tap teams. Like this team has been also very dominant, but is it as strong? I mean, it's very boring to use, and people always stop using it just because it's boring to use, not because it's good. Same was for this team, the Bastiodon, Sableye, Medicham. Like it's a very good Basti team, but if you lose the lead, you pretty much lose the entire game. This team was a very dominant team at low MMR. By low MMR, I mean, no offense to anyone, but at 2000 to 2500 MMR, this team probably the most dominant one, just because Talonflame is very dominant there, and people always shield, and you can always go straight flame charge and they will still shield. And then like Brave Bird just one-shot everything after you ramped up on your fast move. Tap Double Steel is one of the teams that lose to one Talonflame. A team that I wanted to mention is the Pronav team, which is Skunk, Trevenant, Swampert. Trevenant, Swampert is a solid core, and if you can dodge the ice, which he usually used to call a bait and be like on a Skunk, because people always like to bait. So if he call a bait on his Skunk from the ice, he can always win the game. And the team rely on Swampert sweep or the Trevenant sweep teams. And Skunk is just a neutral lead that doesn't lose hard a lead to anything, pretty much. Like even versus Skarmory, if you can land the flamethrower, you can just 2-shield poison jab all the way after. And if you get a crunch debuff and they shielded, you can go straight crunch after, and you can still win the 2 with like slight energy lead. This team is basically has been very dominant since Walwal made this team back in season 4, I think, when Goon came to the game. I don't know which season was that. Basically, triple counter 2 of them, the wall the ghosts, lead weak to ghost, but you're not weak to flyets, because here Pokemons are kind of neutral and they are very bulky. A spicy team by Ice Bandy. What is the spice? I don't know. Go to his team and ask him. I think he removed the underscore. I'm not sure if he still have. But the team is basically triple XL. Icepan loves XL. I call it Ice Spice D instead of his name is Icepan D, so I call this team Ice Spice D because he say this team is very off meta because no one used DD, no one used Lickitung, and no one used Digitsby. What do you mean by that? I have no idea. Go ask him. Now, moving into from the spicy teams to the no skills teams. Teams here do not require the skills. Okay, all it requires you to just tap the screen. Here is one of the teams, the team that Onion has been playing since season 1 or something. A9, Medi, Basti. If you win the lead, you win the game. Tough Pokemon for this team is basically Nidoqueen in the back. Nidoqueen in the lead is GG because if you safe swap Nido has a Ghost. If you safe swap Basti and they have a Scrafty, you just lose. Another low skill team I call Zero Decision Making by NCK. This team doesn't require any decision making. If you most likely it's either a lead you lose hard or a lead you just beat, and they are always at NCK MMR. Everyone is weak to Talonflame, right? From the 2500 to 2000 MMR, everyone is weak to Talonflame, as we said. This team required some skills, but it doesn't require you to count, because you can just throw the first move that pops on your screen. This team was popularized by Frosty. I think he stole it from Notable Cliff. Notable Cliff used to be like one of the best battlers in the world, but he quit the game. I think because he basically felt like he's playing a game where the company doesn't care anymore about fixing the game, and he couldn't handle the lag, so he just stopped playing. Yeah, he used to be like top 5 on the leaderboard all the time. And that's basically his team. Nido, Scrafty, Licky. I think he used to have Medi instead of Scrafty. But that team is kind of weak to Sableye, so with Scrafty it's a better Sableye matchup. Another low skills team by Jonathan Kelly. Jonathan Kelly was playing this team only last season, and he was on page 1 leaderboard pretty much every day in the season. And everyone knew his team. No, this is not Jonathan Kelly. He was playing Umbreon. He had Umbreon with Psychic here instead of the Digitsby. Umbreon, okay? Pretty much everyone knew his team, and he was posting his team every day, and he kept, like, he stayed on page 1 for the entire season. What does this team do versus Registeel? You lose, but not everyone was running Registeel. Umbreon and A9, both of them destroy Walrein, and everyone was running Walrein. So you can just copy this team and play it as much as you want. I think this is the last team, so special thanks to Go Battlelog for providing me access to their top teams, PvPoke for the amazing tools that they have, YTX for also giving me access to Go Battlelog. Thank you so much everyone for watching. If you watched this far, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you like the video, make sure to leave a like. If you have any question about any of these teams, leave in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to answer. This is the end of the video, and sorry for my scuffed cuffs. I have COVID. And see you in the next video. Peace.